Ryan's office revenge.
The storage container door slammed shut behind me as I stared at my crew of 7 guys crammed between pipe sections and rusted machinery. 15 years building this company's reputation, and this is where they stuck my team while I was gone for 3 days. My name is Max Sullivan, and at 47 I've seen enough construction site politics to know when something's wrong. But finding my crew stuffed into a shipping container like spare equipment, that was a new low, even for corporate management. Let me back up. I just returned from a 3-day inspection run on the Interstate 75 bridge project, feeling pretty good about how things were going. The structural assessments came back clean, we were ahead of schedule, and I'd even managed to secure additional funding for new safety equipment. After 8 years in the Marines doing logistics coordination and 15 years running construction crews, I thought I understood how things worked. The moment I stepped off my truck Monday morning, something felt wrong. The usual buzz from our main trailer was gone. The crew workspace where my guys normally gathered for morning briefings stood empty like a ghost town. Rodriguez. I called out, looking for our lead electrician who was always first on site. No answer. Our workspace, the main trailer we'd earned after completing the downtown bypass project on time and under budget, stood completely empty. Toll cabinets gone, safety boards cleared, even the coffee maker we'd all chipped in to buy was missing. Only rectangular dust marks on the floor showed where our equipment used to be. I spotted Anderson from payroll walking past with his clipboard, avoiding eye contact. "Hey Anderson, what happened to my crew?" His face shifted to something that looked like pity mixed with embarrassment. "You should check the storage yard. They moved everyone yesterday." The storage yard? That was just a bunch of old containers and equipment we barely used for anything important. I walked over there, my hard hat strap tightening automatically as I processed what this meant. Past the main gate, around the concrete mixing station, through puddles of oil and scattered rebar, I found a handwritten sign taped to a shipping container. Crew B- temporary. I pushed open the heavy metal door, and there they were. Rodriguez hunched over a folding table with electrical schematics spread between spare pipe sections. Andrews, our youngest guy fresh out of apprenticeship, trying to balance his laptop on a stack of old machinery manuals. Murphy, our equipment operator, squeezed between tool racks with his maintenance logs. Pierce working on welding specs in a corner where the lighting barely reached. Foster reviewing safety protocols by the light of his phone. Walsh studying crane operation manuals while sitting on a bucket. Norton attempting to organize project timelines on a makeshift desk made from sawhorses and plywood. Their computers balanced precariously on whatever flat surfaces they could find. Extension cords snaked everywhere like electrical spaghetti. Water dripped steadily from a rusted overhead pipe into a bucket near Rodriguez's makeshift desk, making a rhythmic plinking sound that echoed off the metal walls. "What the hell happened here?" I asked, though their faces already told me everything I needed to know. Rodriguez looked up, his jaw tight with controlled anger. "While you were gone, Hoffman came down with movers, said we needed to relocate immediately to make room for the new efficiency expert. We had 30 minutes to pack everything." Efficiency expert? What efficiency expert? Andrews pointed toward our former workspace, visible through the container's open door. "Some consultant? Hoffman says he's going to revolutionize our whole operation with lean methodology or something." I could see through the main trailer's windows a young guy in a spotless hard hat arranging framed certificates on what used to be my desk. Hoffman, our deputy operations manager for the past 6 months, hovered nearby like he'd just struck gold. The air inside the container smelled like rust, diesel fumes, and defeat. The Wi-Fi signal barely reached this far from the main office. The nearest bathroom was a porta-potty behind the concrete mixing station. Industrial noise from the plant made normal conversation nearly impossible. 15 years with this company, muttered Murphy, not looking up from his maintenance schedules. 15 years of perfect safety records, on-time completions, under-budget deliveries. And this is how they treat us. I looked at their faces. These were guys who had given everything to this company, who had worked double shifts to meet impossible deadlines, who had pulled off miracles when other crews couldn't deliver. Rodriguez could wire anything and had connections throughout the electrical workers union. Andrews was young but had natural talent for seeing structural problems before they became disasters. Murphy had been ready to retire when I convinced him his equipment expertise was irreplaceable. Pierce was our quietest member who could weld anything but struggled with paperwork. Foster knew safety regulations better than most inspectors. Walsh operated our crane like it was part of his body. Norton could translate technical requirements into language anyone could understand. For 8 years, we delivered consistently solid results without drama or excuses. We weren't the flashiest crew, but site supervisors knew we were the ones to call when they needed something difficult done right the first time. Then I adjusted my hard hat strap, looked each of them in the eye, and smiled calmly. "Pack your personal tools," I said quietly, "not just the company stuff. Everything you might want to take with you someday." They stared at me, confused but trusting. These guys had followed me through impossible deadlines and budget cuts. They'd trust me through this too. "Just start quietly gathering anything important," I continued, keeping my voice level, "and keep this conversation between us." "What are you thinking, Mac?" Rodriguez asked. "I'm thinking 15 years of loyalty deserves better than a storage container with a leaking pipe." My crew didn't know it yet, but I wasn't just good at managing construction projects. Those 8 years in the Marines had taught me how to build networks under pressure and how to document everything when leadership goes sideways. The 15 years since had taught me how corporate politics really worked, especially when incompetent managers started making decisions that put good people at risk. 6 months earlier, our longtime operations manager had retired, and Hoffman arrived with big ideas but zero understanding of actual construction work. From day one, he'd been hunting for something flashy to impress the owners, ignoring our consistent safety records and completion rates in favor of management theories he'd learned in business school. His golden hire, this efficiency expert named Ashton Kane, had dazzled him with buzzword-filled presentations about lean methodology and revolutionary productivity gains. What Hoffman never investigated was why someone with such transformative skills had changed jobs 3 times in 2 years. I walked over to our former workspace to see what we were dealing with. Through the main trailer's windows, I could see this Ashton character arranging his framed certificates like he was setting up a shrine. Hoffman stood nearby with an expression I'd seen on officers' faces when they thought they'd found the perfect solution to everything. "Mac, perfect timing," Hoffman said when he spotted me approaching. "Come meet Ashton Kane, our new productivity optimization specialist. His lean methodology increased output 300% at his last 3 companies. He needs proper space to implement his vision for our operation." He lowered his voice like he was sharing classified information. "Your crew can work out of the storage area until we finish the quarterly budget review. It's only temporary." I looked at this Ashton guy, who didn't even pause arranging his awards to acknowledge me, just kept positioning his certificates like they were battle honors instead of participation trophies. I nodded once, said nothing, and walked back to the storage container where my crew waited. For 2 weeks after the relocation, we worked from our exile. The conditions were brutal, temperature swings made the metal container unbearable by afternoon, the lighting gave everyone headaches by lunch. Twice we had to cover equipment when that overhead pipe leaked during rainstorms. The industrial noise from the concrete plant made phone calls impossible and safety meetings a joke, yet my crew followed my quiet instructions without complaint. We started backing up all project files, organizing our safety documentation, creating detailed handoff guides for every system we maintained. To anyone watching, it looked like we were just being thorough. In reality, we were building an insurance policy. "I don't understand why we're documenting everything so thoroughly," Pierce whispered one afternoon while updating his welding specifications. "It's not like they appreciate our work anyway. Everything we do should be done right," I replied loud enough for everyone to hear, no matter where we do it. "Professional standards don't change based on workspace." The others exchanged glances but kept working. They trusted me even if they didn't understand the plan forming in my head. During this time, I started reaching out to old contacts from my military days and construction connections I'd built over 15 years. Just casual conversations, checking in, maintaining relationships. When Tommy Martinez mentioned he was doing safety inspections for the state now, I filed that information away. When Patricia Lansing from Interstate Construction asked how things were going, I gave her honest answers about our crew's capabilities and recent project completions. These weren't job interviews, they were relationship maintenance. But in the back of my mind, I was building a network of people who understood what good construction work looked like. Then came a call that changed everything. Victoria Evane, the company owner, requested I present our crew's safety record and project completions at the upcoming investor meeting. My crew's spirits lifted when I told them. Finally, recognition for what we'd actually accomplished instead of promises about what might happen. The morning of the presentation, I put on my best shirt and reviewed my safety metrics in the storage container's harsh lighting. Our numbers were impressive. 0 lost time accidents in 18 months, 12 consecutive projects completed on schedule, 3 major infrastructure jobs finished under budget. I had charts showing our efficiency improvements, cost savings, and client satisfaction ratings. As I walked toward the main office, clipboard in hand, Hoffman intercepted me in the parking lot like he'd been waiting. "Change of plans," he said, positioning himself to block my path to the building. "The investors want to hear about future innovations, not past performance." Ashton will present instead. Victoria specifically requested our safety metrics, I said, keeping my voice level. His smile didn't reach his eyes. I spoke with her this morning. She agrees my approach makes more sense for this audience. The board needs to hear about where we're going, not where we've been. Revolutionary methodology, transformative processes, that's what gets investors excited. He gestured toward the storage container. You can head back to your workspace. We'll handle this. I looked at him for a long moment, adjusting my hard hat strap while I processed this information. Then I nodded and walked back to tell my crew that our presentation had been canceled in favor of Ashton's theoretical improvements. Their faces fell when I delivered the news. Andrews actually pulled up a resignation letter he'd been working on, the cursor blinking in the submit field of his email. "So this is it?" he asked. "We're just giving up?" "Not yet," I replied steadily. "Keep documenting, keep backing up files, keep doing good work." Later that day, word spread through the company that Ashton's presentation had bombed spectacularly. The investors had asked basic technical questions about construction processes that he couldn't answer, exposing his shallow understanding of our actual business. They'd wanted to know about safety protocols, equipment maintenance schedules, and project management systems. Ashton had responded with buzzwords about optimization and efficiency curves. Hoffman had attempted damage control by promising that our crew would implement the new concepts despite our apparent resistance to innovative thinking. That afternoon, Hoffman visited our container looking suddenly friendly, like nothing had happened. "Good news," he announced to the cramped space. "We're considering moving you back to the East trailer. It's smaller than your old space, but still much better than this temporary arrangement." The East trailer was barely an upgrade from the storage container, and everyone knew it. The message was clear. We were still considered less valuable than the consultant with the fancy certificates. "Thank you for considering our situation," I said, which surprised my crew who expected me to tell Hoffman exactly what I thought of his generous offer. But I had bigger plans than arguing about trailers. 2 days later, I made a phone call that would change everything. Tommy Martinez had been in my unit in Iraq, where we'd learned to watch each other's backs when command made questionable decisions. Now he was doing safety inspections for the state, and when I mentioned our current working conditions, his voice got very serious very quickly. "You're telling me they've got 7 guys working in an unventilated storage container with exposed electrical hazards, no emergency exits, and a leaking pipe overhead?" I confirmed. "Mac, that's not just poor management, that's multiple OSHA violations. I can have an inspection team there by Friday. Just happen to be in the neighborhood, right?" "Exactly. Random safety inspection. Happens all the time." The next day, I invited Tommy to tour our facility. I timed our visit perfectly for when I knew Hoffman would be showing Ashton around to potential clients from Interstate Construction. Patricia Lansing had mentioned they were looking for subcontractors on a major highway project. "Mac," Hoffman called out when he spotted us near the main office. His voice had that forced enthusiasm of a man trying too hard to impress everyone. "Perfect timing. Come meet the team from Interstate Construction. They're very interested in Ashton's lean methodology." I approached with Tommy beside me, both of us in our standard hard hats and safety gear. "This is Tommy Martinez, State Safety Inspector. He's doing a routine facility inspection today." Hoffman's smile faltered slightly, but he recovered and eagerly introduced Tommy to Ashton, who immediately launched into his rehearsed speech about eliminating waste, optimizing workflows, and revolutionary productivity improvements through strategic workspace allocation. "Fascinating approach," Tommy said when Ashton finished his presentation. "You've implemented this successfully at other companies?" "Absolutely. My methods improved productivity dramatically at my previous companies. Rocky Mountain Construction saw 300% efficiency gains in 1 quarter. "Rocky Mountain Construction," Tommy repeated, pulling out his phone to check something. His face went serious. "I conducted the safety audit there last year. They recorded significant project delays and 3 serious injuries during your tenure. In fact, they're facing substantial OSHA violations partially related to the workspace reconfigurations you implemented." The conference room went silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Ashton's confident expression crumbled like a foundation with poor concrete. "There must be some confusion," Hoffman began, his face flushing. "No confusion," I said calmly. "Tommy's here because I filed a safety complaint about our current working conditions. My crew's been working in an unventilated storage container with inadequate lighting, no proper emergency exits, exposed electrical hazards, and structural water damage." I turned to the Interstate Construction representatives, who were now looking very uncomfortable. "You might want to verify those OSHA violations Tommy mentioned before considering any partnerships, due diligence and all that." The potential clients immediately began gathering their materials, making polite excuses about needing to get back for other meetings. Within minutes, they were gone, leaving behind only the echo of opportunity walking out the door. Tommy spent the next 2 hours documenting violations throughout our workspace areas. The storage container alone generated 8 separate citations. He also found problems with our temporary electrical setup, inadequate ventilation systems, and improper storage of hazardous materials. This report goes to your insurance company and the state labor board, he told Hoffman, who looked like he was watching his career disintegrate in real time. You've got 48 hours to bring everything into compliance before I shut down operations. After Tommy left, Hoffman cornered me near the container, desperation replacing his usual arrogance. Wait, he said, his voice cracking. The East Trailer renovation starts tomorrow morning. I'll match whatever salary offers you've received. Double overtime rates, full benefits review. I looked at him with the same calm expression I'd maintained since finding my crew in the storage container. Too late, Hoffman. Please, Mac. I made a mistake. I see that now. What will it take for you to stay? I adjusted my hard hat strap while considering his question. You know what? 8 years in the Marines taught me about leadership. True character reveals itself not when everything's running smooth, but in how you treat people when resources are tight and pressure's high. You showed us exactly who you are when you put my crew in that container. I can fix this. Give me a chance to make it right. You had your chance. Every day for 2 weeks, you walked past that container knowing 7 experienced professionals were working in unsafe conditions. You chose to protect Ashton's workspace while ignoring ours. As I started to walk away, Hoffman grabbed my arm. Do you have any idea what you've done? This will destroy everything I've built here. I looked down at his hand until he released me. You built this situation when you prioritized appearance over substance, theories over results, and politics over people. What I didn't tell him was that this safety inspection was just the opening move. The union representative I'd contacted would be very interested in the working conditions we'd endured. Patricia Lansing had already expressed serious concern about partnering with a company facing safety violations, and Victoria Avane would soon learn exactly why her star consultant's previous companies had such troubled track records. Back in the storage container, my crew waited with expressions ranging from hopeful to worried. The sound of Tommy's inspection had drawn attention from workers throughout the facility. Everyone knew something significant was happening. Well, Rodriguez asked when I returned. I closed the container door and checked for any potential listening devices, an old habit from military operations. Tommy documented multiple violations. We'll be out of here by Friday, one way or another. What does that mean exactly? Foster asked. It means Hoffman and Ashton just learned that cutting corners on safety has consequences. It also means Patricia Lansing from Interstate Construction is very interested in hiring an entire experienced crew with a clean safety record. The silence that followed was profound. Then Andrew started laughing, a sound of relief and vindication that echoed off the metal walls. Are you telling us we're getting out of this container and away from this mess? Murphy asked. I'm telling you that 15 years of solid work and 0 safety violations means something to the right people. And I'm telling you that documenting everything we've done here was time well spent. Norton looked confused. How long have you been planning this? Since the day Hoffman moved us in here, nobody treats my crew like disposable equipment. For the next 3 days, we worked with military precision from our storage container. Every weld was documented, every electrical connection mapped, every safety protocol recorded in detail. We worked longer hours than required, our impending freedom driving us to complete everything thoroughly and professionally. On Thursday morning, Hoffman appeared at our container looking like he hadn't slept in days. Dark circles shadowed his eyes and his usually crisp shirt was wrinkled like he'd slept in it. Mac, can we talk privately? He asked, his voice lacking its usual confidence. I glanced at my crew, who pretended to focus on their work while obviously listening to every word. Anything you need to say can be said here. We don't operate with secrets. He shifted uncomfortably, looking around at the cramped conditions like he was seeing them for the first time. I've spoken with the owners. They've authorized me to offer your entire crew 15% raises, effective immediately. We're also expediting the renovation of the East Trailer. You could be in proper facilities by next week. That's generous, I said, but we've already signed contracts with Interstate Construction. Contracts can be broken. There are always clauses, legal ways around these things. There aren't. Patricia's legal team made sure of that. His professional mask finally cracked completely. Please, Mac, I admit the storage container was a mistake, but losing your entire crew is going to destroy my career. The safety report comes out Friday, and if I have to announce that our most experienced team resigned, for a moment I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. The container wasn't a mistake, Hoffman. It was a choice. You chose to protect Ashton's theories over our proven results. You chose appearances over substance. Now you have to live with those decisions. He left without another word. shoulders slumped like a man carrying weight he couldn't handle. Friday morning brought Tommy's official safety report in the union's formal grievance filing. By noon, both Hoffman and Ashton were gone, their security badges deactivated, and personal items boxed up. By closing time, Victoria Evane had left me a voicemail requesting an urgent meeting. Saturday morning, I sat in Victoria's office while she reviewed the safety report and union documents. Her corner office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a stark contrast to the storage container where my crew had worked for 2 weeks. "Hoffman's gone," she said, without preamble. "So is his consultant. The board met in emergency session last night, I heard." She studied me across her desk. "I also heard you've taken a position with Interstate Construction. All of you, we have. Patricia Lansing called me this morning. She's proposed something unusual. A collaboration between our companies with your crew splitting time between both operations. Shared projects, combined expertise, industry partnership model." I adjusted my hard hat strap, processing this unexpected development. What kind of collaboration? The kind where both companies benefit from your team's experience, where safety standards get elevated across the industry, and where good people don't get lost because of bad management decisions. And you're interested in this arrangement. I'm interested in not losing the crew that's delivered our best safety record and most consistent results for 8 years. I'm also interested in making sure what happened to you never happens to another team here. What are you offering? Operations director position, reporting directly to me. Full authority over workplace safety and crew management. Your team gets proper facilities, proper respect, and proper compensation. The collaboration with Interstate gives everyone security and options. Monday morning, my crew and I started our new arrangement. Half the week at our renovated facilities with Victoria's company, half the week at Interstate with Patricia's operation. Both companies invested in upgraded safety equipment, proper workspaces, and training programs. The collaboration model worked better than anyone expected. Within 3 months, both companies saw improvements in safety ratings, project completion times, and worker satisfaction. Industry publications started writing about our partnership as a new model for construction cooperation. 6 months later, the arrangement had become a case study taught in business schools. The safety protocols we'd developed were being adopted by companies across the region. Our split crew model had inspired similar collaborations in other industries. Hoffman found work at a smaller company in a reduced role, managing projects instead of people. Ashton reinvented himself as a workplace culture consultant, still selling theories to anyone willing to listen, but now with a trail of documented failures that made due diligence easier for smart employers. My crew now works in bright, well-ventilated facilities at both companies. Our experience is valued. Our safety record is spotless, and our expertise drives decision-making instead of being ignored for flashier alternatives. Most importantly, we'd created industry standards that made it much harder for the next crew to face unsafe working conditions or disrespectful treatment. The safety protocols we documented became templates for other companies. The union grievance process we'd initiated led to stronger worker protection policies. The storage container still sits in the yard, but now it's used for equipment storage like it was designed for. Sometimes I walk past it and remember those 2 weeks when my crew's worth was measured by how little space management thought we deserved. The best revenge isn't destroying the people who wronged you. It's building something better from the situation they created, something that protects others from facing the same disrespect and neglect. If you've ever found yourself stuck in a storage container, literally or figuratively, remember that documenting everything, building relationships, and standing up for what's right isn't just about your own situation. It's about the crew that comes after you, the workers who deserve safe conditions and fair treatment, and the industry standards that protect everyone. Sometimes the most important battles aren't won by tearing down bad systems, but by building better ones that make the old problems impossible to repeat. That's not just workplace justice. That's how you change an entire industry. One safety protocol and one respected crew at a time.